Welcome to Learn Excel in 5-minute bits. In this 11th video, Microsoft Excel's if statement, we'll examine how the if statement works in Excel. If you're a regular subscriber, you may want to advance the progress bar to 30 seconds to skip most of the introductory paragraph. Future videos will explore additional tasks, including more formulas and functions, as well as many other tasks. Our ultimate goal is to make Excel easy to use and help you become a pro at using Excel. If you're a subscriber, we appreciate your loyalty. If not, we hope you'll subscribe using the subscribe button. Subscribing is free. I've opened up a project report file so we can examine the if statement. Excel's if statement always includes 3 parameters. A condition to be tested, for example in this case is D3 greater than 30. The second condition parameter is what entry you want to put in the cell if that condition is true. And the third parameter is what entry you want to put in the cell if that condition is false. Notice in this spreadsheet we have 10 projects with start and end dates. You can see by the column headings of column E and F that we want to identify in column E if a project is taking more than 30 days, and if so, in column F, by how many days the project does exceed 30 days. So let's start by entering the if statement or function for column E. We'll click on cell E3 where we want the results of the if statement to appear, and then click on the FX button at the left side of the formula bar, which brings up the insert function box. If your box is covering the data, you can drag its title bar out of the way. In the or select a category box, click the drop-down arrow and choose all. So all Excel functions are now displayed in the larger box. Then click anywhere in the larger box and type the letter I. That brings you to the group of functions that start with the letter you just typed. Fortunately, the if statement is the first one in the list. If it were not, we could just scroll down until we see the function we want. Notice the bold text below the large box provides the syntax of the function, and the non-bold text below that describes the function's purpose. Let's click on OK. Then the function arguments box appears, where you can enter the 3 parameters. In the first box, let's type D3, the greater than symbol, that's above the period, so it's shift and the period, and then the number 30. Then in the second box, let's type the word yes, and in the third box, type the word no. So this if statement says, if D3 is greater than 30, put the word yes in the cell. Otherwise, put the word no in the cell. So let's click on OK. So the word yes appears because this one has more than 30 days. Then let's autofill cell E3 down through E12. And the word yes or no appears depending on whether the number of days is greater than 30 or not. If we only want to highlight the cells where D3 is greater than 30, we can change the if function. Let's go to cell E3. Then in the formula bar, click, let's delete the word no, but leave its quotation marks, and then press the Enter key. Quotation marks with nothing between them say, in effect, make this cell a blank cell. So let's click on E3 and then re-autofill E3 down through F12. And as you can see, the word yes still appears, but the no has disappeared because we've said we want that cell to be blank if it's a no condition. Now let's use column F to see how many days over 30 a project is, if in fact it is. Let's click on F3. Then click on the FX button. In the Or Select a Category button, click the drop-down and choose Logical. The if statement is in this group, so let's just click If, and then click OK. In the first box, let's type D3 greater than 30, D3 greater than symbol, the number 30. And in the second box, let's type C3 minus B3 minus 30. And then in the third box, type 2 quotation marks with nothing between them. This if statement says if D3 is greater than 30, then subtract 30 from the difference between the start and end dates. Otherwise, make the cell blank. And let's click OK. This one is greater than 30 by 1. Let's autofill F3 down through F12. And column F now shows how many days over 30 if a project is in fact over 30 days. Project 10 takes exactly 30 days. So if we had left no as the third parameter in that first if statement we did in column E, that project would have a no entered in cell E12, which isn't exactly correct because it should say equal. But how can we do that when there are only 2 parameters after the condition in the if statement? We use a nested if statement. Let's click on cell E3. And then in the formula block, click to the right of the comma following the yes statement. And let's delete the 2 quotation marks. And now we'll enter another if statement. If, left parentheses, D3 equals 30, comma, quotation marks, the word equal, quotation marks, comma, quotation marks, no, quotation marks, and then another right parentheses. And then press the Enter key. So far, no difference. Word yes still appears, but let's re-autofill that statement from E3 down through, F12. And I made a mistake. I made the if statement say ID instead of if, so we'll change that. And then we'll autofill that down again. And as you can see, the yeses and nos appear where they did before, except that in E12 it says equal, because that number of days, of course, is exactly equal to 30. This modification effectively changes the function's original third parameter, where it just said no, to a nested if statement. If you read just the nested part of the statement, the red text in the spreadsheet, over to the right, it does not make sense. If D3 is equal to 30, the negative of that logically could be either yes or no. If it's not equal, could be higher, could be lower. But when we arrive at the nested part of the function, we have already screened out the first part of the function. In other words, we would never get to the nested part where it says if D3 is equal to 30, because we would have already entered yes into the cell and be done with the logic of the function, because D3 is greater than 30. As you can see, the 3 statements we have used in this video are entered in text form in column H and labeled to the right of those, so you can review them and think them through. Keep in mind with if functions, you can, number 1, test any condition using either cell addresses or numbers or text. Text must always be in quotation marks. Test whether it's equal or greater or less or whatever. Number 2, you can enter a number of different types of entries into the yes or the no parameters. For instance, you can enter a blank, the 2 quotation marks. You can enter any number. You can enter any calculation, C3 minus D4 or C3 plus 30 or a multiply or a divide. Or you can enter any text entry, for instance, yes, like we did. And again, text entries must always be enclosed in quotation marks. This concludes this video, Microsoft Excel's if statement. Remember that practicing these steps a few times will help you remember so you can use the task without even thinking about them. I look forward to joining you in future videos in our series called Learn Excel in 5-Minute Bits to explore the many benefits of Excel. Check out our upcoming 12th video, Using Excel's Multiple Sheets Part 1. Thank you for watching and for subscribing.